أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلق الله محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. What I wanted to talk about tonight was how we're able to utilize and benefit from the holidays that are approaching. I'm sure today for most of you was your last day at school, or maybe even yesterday. And what kind of plan do you need to have in order for you to hopefully benefit from that time? Now, it's very wrong for us to have this assumption that no, turn them off. No, turn off these ones at least. What kind of program do you need to have? What should you do during the week as far as your holidays are concerned? It's really wrong for you to just allow all of the days to go past and you not have some kind of schedule or program or something that you're doing. Balance is really, really important. Maybe a few hours of this, a few hours of that. No one's saying that you need to, study maths all day, all night, but at the same time, you're not going to be, benefiting much if you are spending all of your time on Shuno Mehdi, on Roadblocks and Minecraft. Exactly. So finding balance is really, really important. 3-4 hours read a book, 3-4 hours do some outdoor activity, and then if you want to watch a movie, if you want to make sure it's rated appropriately, not watching R-rated stuff like Candyman or Rambo or Home Alone. And and also if you want to play some games, you can play some games. One of the biggest issues that I always see every holiday is the level of frustration that parents go through, and all of the issues that they have to face because their son or their daughter are going overboard with what it is that they should not be doing. So having balance is very important, and making sure that you're listening to what your parents tell you to do or not to do. Inshallah, I'll be speaking about that in detail next week, but for tonight's program, as you know, today coincides with the birthday anniversary of the daughter of Imam Ali alayhi salam and Fatima Zahra, and she is a Seyyide Zaynab al-Kubra alayha salam. We've heard the name Zaynab very frequently, and we know about a Seyyide Zaynab, especially with the tragedy of Karbala, because whenever we mention Imam Hussein and Karbala and Ashura, we usually have to always mention the role of a Seyyide Zaynab alayha salam. And of course, we know for a fact that she played a primary role in all of the events. And of course, we know how respected and how she revered she was by all of the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in general. Now, of course, if we were to go all the way back to the beginning, as far as her birth is concerned, boys, I asked you to separate. I separated you so you don't talk. So separate. Ta'alu gud minna anta, wild child. Come sit here. Come sit here. Yes, you. Isn't that what says on your shirt, wild child? Yeah. When a child is born in Islam, we know that there are certain etiquettes that we need to observe. Especially the fact that usually the parents of the newborn child, out of honor, out of respect, go to their elder and say, we would like you to give us the honor of naming this child. And this is exactly what Imam Ali and Fatima Zahra did. They went to the Holy Prophet and they said, what are you going to name this child? And as you know, as far as Islam and us Muslims, the necessary rights that each child has over their parent is for their parent to give them a good, honorable name. For a parent to name their child something that they will be honored with. We unfortunately know that in some circumstances, for whatever reason it may be, some people here don't have a good Islamic name. If you were to look up the statistics of how many children are born having the name John and Peter and Matthew, you'd be shocked and surprised. But when it comes to our names like Ali and Fatima and Hassan and Hussein, what do people usually say? Oh, I don't want a name that so many other people have. I want a unique name. I want a special name. So they give their child some name like Kalisha or Jawanda or something like that, because it's like special. No one else has named their name in that particular way. Or in some of our cultures, to keep people away from hitting that baby with the evil eye, they call their child Zbala or Agrug or something like that. And I've seen it myself in Iraq. Guy Miskin, he's an old man. They call him Abu Jawad, but for example, his real name is like his legal name is Zbala or Agrug or something like that. Why? Because their parent, or Nihaya, for example. That's it. We don't want any more children after this girl. We called her Nihaya. That's it. These kind of very insulting names, if we could say, are not going to give that child that sense of honor or self-respect that they deserve. And that's why one of the haqq, one of the rights that a child has over his or her parent is to give them an honorable name. And this is why when they went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi to give the name for this newborn child, the Holy Prophet said, I am not going to rush. I'm going to wait until I am given the name by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why all of our ma'soomeen, their names were God-given. They were chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even with the name Ali, the Holy Prophet was the one who gave him the name Ali, because Abu Talib and his wife, what's the name of Imam Ali's mother? What's her name? Fatima bint Asad. The name that they wanted to give their child, one was they wanted to name the child, one option was Hamza, another option was Asad, another option was Zayd. But the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa said that his name is Ali. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose his name to be Ali. This was even before Islam. And the same thing in regards to all of the other ma'soomeen and immediate members of the ma'soomeen alayhim salam. Why was she called Zaynab? Because Zaynab is a combination of two words to describe who Zaynab is going to be. A combination of two words. Zayn, which means the adornment, the decoration, and Ab, which means father. So Zaynab was the Zaynu Abiha, the decoration, the adornment of her father, because she brought her father and she will bring her father so much honor, so much dignity, so much pride, which of course as a result that would be the name that would be more befitting for Seyyide Zaynab alayha salam. She was born on the 5th of Jumadil Awal, which is today, in the year 5 after Hijrah, in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara. And of course, we know that she lived during the tragic event of the stealing of Khilafah from Imam Ali, the attacking of the house of Seyyida Zahra, the martyrdom of Seyyida Zahra, all of the issues that Imam Ali was facing throughout the years, and all the battles that he had as well, his martyrdom as well. So Seyyida Zaynab was a first-hand witness to all of this. She saw all of these things, and that's why she even saw Imam al-Mujtaba and his poisoning. She saw Imam Hussein and all of the things that happened in Karbala. She unfortunately had to go through that captivity after Karbala, and going all the way to Kufa and then to Sham with shackles and everything else. And that's why we refer to her as al-Masa'ib, the mother of calamities, because of what she endured. But at the same time, in her enduring all of these difficulties, we can see that she never gave up, that she never felt a sense of loneliness, that she never objected to the will and the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in her being that mountain of patience, we can see that the perseverance that she had was always something that she felt to be a part of her struggle and her journey. And that's why she is called Aqilatu Bani Hashim. And that's why she is called Al-Alimah. And these are two of the names given to her. With us human beings, why do we need to pursue a journey in our lives that are going to somehow make us better in this dunya that we live in? Ma'as-salama, Sayyid. Take care. Why do we need to accomplish certain things in our lives? Of course, you are here on this earth for a purpose. You have an objective in this world. How are you going to reach these milestones in your life if you don't have an overall plan that you are working towards? If you're not an ambitious person, you're just someone who likes to kick back, likes to kill time, likes to waste your energy on superficial things, on meaningless things. Wallah al-Azim, I get shocked and surprised when I see some of those little kids for 3, 4, 5 hours. They watch someone else play a game on YouTube. Like, that's so weird, man. I don't understand. I know that I'm not from this generation, but why would you want to watch someone else playing a game? Why don't you play the game yourself? That really breaks your self-esteem, doesn't it? Like, it gives you that hollowness that unfortunately a lot of these little kids have. They're like little zombies watching someone else play a game. Why don't you play the game? Why don't you learn how to gain those skills and play the game? Or watch someone else play with toys. Someone was telling me that the richest kid in this world, right, has a YouTube channel, and all he does is he gets toys and he plays with Ken and Barbie. Oh no, you go here. Oh no, and all these little kids watch them. Millions of views. Millions of views. Okay, maybe someone in Bangladesh or Africa that can't afford to buy a toy. a Nerf gun, but what's wrong with you? You can buy it. You have a gun, you have a toy. Why don't you play it yourself instead of watching someone else play it? It's really bad. That's why this society that we're living in is a real weird society. This generation, Gen X or Gen Z or whatever they call them, really weird. Because they're doing things that are not building their shakhsiyah. That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying it's haram or evil or whatnot. I'm saying there are things that you do that it's not going to build your personality. It's not going to make you better in life. It's just going to drag you down. And that's why this is a very interesting, inshallah, in the future, when you read about different theories as far as sociology or psychology or things like that, this is an interesting piece of information for us to learn. This guy, Maslow, he says he came up with this theory in the 1940s, and he said basically a human being wants to achieve something, and there needs to be something that drives them, that motivates them. It's the direction for us as Muslims. It's the direction of what it is that is filling up your time for us that's important. So let's say, for example, your physiological needs. Yani you as a human being, your primary needs, your primary requirements that keeps you alive is food, water, shelter, and of course staying warm, which is shelter, which falls under the category of shelter. These are going to be your primary needs, your basic needs, right? Then of course you're also going to make sure that you keep yourself safe, and then you're going to somehow need a sense of belonging, that you want to be with other people around you. Ihna as human beings, we like to socialize. It's our nature. It's our nature to want to socialize. Not in today's society, unfortunately. A lot of people don't have the basic skills of socializing, social etiquette, right? Everyone's so used to living behind screens. Even when they want to express themselves, they say, I'm more confident expressing myself typing than I am verbally. That's also really damaging, isn't it? There are some people that you come across, they don't even know how to talk. Right? Why? Because they're so used to screens. And read about the level of antisocial behavior being on the rise because of people being more comfortable at home and not wanting to interact with other people. That sense of belonging, you could either be with a religion, you could either be with a club, you could either be with a group of friends, you could either be with a circle of relatives, or you could either feel that the only way of you satisfying this urge is by becoming a part of a gang. And that's why the gangster kind of culture, the gangster culture is filling up a needs that some of us have. But it's the direction that they're going, that they're taking, that is wrong. That brotherhood that people assume exists in a gangster or in a gang, right? And you want to also become a part of that group, that gang, by doing what it is that they would want you to do, that they expect you to do. So that's why there's an initiative. There are certain colors that you're going to have to wear. There are certain objectives that you're going to have to do. There are certain laws, unwritten laws that you have to follow. There's a leader that you have to listen to, and all of these other things. Then when everything falls apart, the first thing that these people do in this gang, right, is snitch on each other. Why? Because no one wants to go to jail. Now, this is what we mean by you following this hierarchy is going to happen to us, but in what direction are we going to fulfill and satisfy these basic needs, or these psychological needs, or these self-fulfillment needs? Let's say you have that sense of belonging. You want to now make sure that you are unique, that you're special, that you stand out. You want to do something prestigious. You want to make sure that you are looked at or pointed at when you walk into a room. And that's why you look for ways in how you are able to do this. Guys or girls, sometimes you find right ways. Sometimes, unfortunately, you find wrong ways. Right ways of gaining attention is by you being known to be someone respectable, someone polite, someone righteous, someone honest, someone educated. Wrong ways, walking in looking like a eshe with your Gucci bag, with your Louis Vuitton bag, or hijab loose, makeup, attention. You want people to look and say, oh wow, what a bag. Oh wow, what makeup, it suits her shoes. Oh wow, this, oh wow, that. All of these things that fall under this category of esteem. Instead of us building our self-esteem in the right way, we do so in the wrong way. How many times have I spoken about these guys who go to the gym only for the sake of muscles, and them not getting anything out of it other than feeling some sense of boost when they look at the mirror at their, how many packs? 6. Then, of course, we have the self-actualization. That's also going to be important, because that means that you have accomplished something, that you are an achiever. And that's also very, very important. But that's not going to happen if the method that you have chosen is wrong. We need to always make sure that the way we go up this ladder, and that's only one theory, of course, we can look at it from different angles, but the way we go up this ladder is always going to need to be within correct boundaries and perimeters. And we can learn this from the life of Seyyide Zaynab alayha salam. In any which way we look at her, we can see that she was an achiever. And she never did this outside of the perimeters of shara and religion and akhlaq and society. That yes, she was a highly educated person, but that didn't mean that she had to, for example, abandon her family duty, which she was a wife and a mother. She didn't let go of her religious values by saying, oh, well, I need to do this or I need to do that. She was someone who was very socially active as well. She was someone who stood up to the tyranny of Yazid, as you know, and that's what we refer to in her form of jihad. Jihad isn't all about holding a weapon. Jihad can be something as honorable as you standing against a tyrannical ruler and showing him or telling him the oppression that they are perpetrating upon the people. And that's exactly what she did. If you read this part of what she said to Yazid, فكد كيدك وسع سعيك وناصب جهدك فوالله لا تمحو ذكرنا ولا تميت وحينا. والله لا تمحو ذكرنا. You'll never be able to erase our memory. This is what Seyyide Zaynab is saying to Yazid. You also know when in the palace in the court of Yazid, what it is that she did and how she changed the whole direction of how people were looking at these captives. They saw them to be renegades, but after the khutbah of Imam al-Sajjad and the khutbah of Seyyide Zaynab, they saw them to be the most honorable of people. And this is why we can see that what kind of role she played in Karbala, and her mentioning and narrating a lot of the events that occurred in Karbala, and of course how difficult it was for her as well. And we all know Untitled Chapter, where she stood there and she gave her khutbah after Karbala as well, being leading the captives, pretty much leading the sabaya of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and going to Kufa, and then from Kufa to Sham. And as I said, in the presence of Yazid, when Yazid said to her, all right, what do you think about what God did to all of you? And what did she say? She said, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I have seen nothing other than beauty. Again, remember all of those difficult things that she was going through. There's no such thing for a strong, righteous person. For a strong, righteous person, there's not going to be any need or any place for PTSD or depression or anxiety or all of these other things. Why? Because all of what happens to her, she interprets in the best way possible. Right? When she does fall in front of a calamity or a misfortune, she interprets that in the positive way. And that's a lesson for all of us, isn't it? Let's say a family member passes away. What are you going to do? How are you going to conduct yourself? How are you going to behave? You're going to object and stand against what it is that Allah has decreed for you? Or are you going to say, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un? And that's exactly what the ayah says. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ. If a musibah falls upon you, قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Because you've submitted to the will of God, and you know that there is a wisdom behind anything and everything that happens to you. And that's the lesson that we are able to learn from Seyyide Zaynab. And that's why her memory is alive today more than it is any other time. And her memory and the memory of all of the members of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam will be alive with us. For those who say that women have no place in Islam, or women have no rights, or women have no status, or things like that, look at Seyyide Zaynab and her having a primary role, wasn't a secondary role, a primary role in Islam, along with her mother, along with her grandmother, and many, many other examples that can be given. And that's why when the holy maqam of Seyyide Zaynab alayhi salam in Syria was being attacked, there were thousands of people who ran to defend the holy shrine. These people who gave their lives for the sake of defending the maqam of Seyyide Zaynab, the maqam of Seyyida Ruqayya, the maqam of all of the other members of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that are there, and even some of the Sahaba, some of the companions like Al-Hijr ibn Adi, which I visited and I saw where the rocket had hit, and even with some of the other members, unfortunately, that was destroyed, completely destroyed. With the maqam of Seyyida Zaynab alayhi salam, they reached the Dawa'ish, the Jabhat al-Nusra, and all of these other evil extremist groups. They reached on the day of Ashura. On the day of Ashura, they reached 1 kilometer close to the maqam of Seyyida Zaynab alayhi salam. And their one and only objective and goal wasn't to kill Shia, wasn't to kill Syrians, wasn't to kill pro-Bashar Assad army. No, it was to destroy the maqam of Seyyida Zaynab. And all of these people who sacrificed their lives on that holy day, the day of Ashura, hundreds of them were killed, and they came from everywhere around the Shi'i world, from Syria. And they weren't only Shia, by the way. Those who were defending the maqam of Seyyida Zaynab, there were some Shia, some Sunnis, some even Christian. And if you've seen my ziyarah vlogs, I sent it out today. I have a ziyarah vlog of the what they call Maqbarat al-Shuhada. And I read out, I don't know if anyone's seen it, I read out some of the names of Christian people who were killed on that day, defending the maqam of Seyyida Zaynab alayhi salam. And of course, they came from everywhere. They came from Syria, they came from Iraq, they came from Iran, they came from Lebanon, they came from Pakistan, they came from Afghanistan, the Zaynabiyun, the Fatimiyun, the Liwa Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, and all of the other awliya, all of the other brigades that are still there today defending the maqams, the holy shrines of the members of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. That's the honor. That's an honorable life, and that's an honorable death as well, isn't it? When we want to remember them, we need to remember them in the greatest of ways, because if it wasn't for them and their sacrifices in a couple of years, in a couple of months, when we want to go and visit them, we wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't be able to, because it would be wiped clear to the earth, which is what they have done for other holy shrines. And that's why remember them in your du'as. Remember the shuhada of those who defend and have defended the holy shrines of our ma'sumin alayhim assalam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq of doing ziyarah of Seyyida Zaynab and Seyyida Ruqayya and all of the other maqamat in Ash-Sham in this dunya, and for us to receive their shafa'ah in al-akhirah. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi tahirin.